So, if you're watching this, this is my, I guess, post Ignyte Awards video. I won the Ignyte Award 2021, the Critics Award, and it means a lot to me. And if this is maybe one of the first time you're engaging with my work or with my social media, you might not know what the past year and a half have been like minimum. So I've run Stitch's Media Mix since 2015. I created it in part because Book Riot, you needed to have like a real website to apply for like their writing positions, and at that time I didn't have one. I just had a Tumblr, and I felt like they wouldn't want that. It didn't work. I never ended up writing for Book Riot, but I started to use my website as a way to kind of long form unspool my thoughts about different fandoms and different pieces of media. I primarily consume fantasy and sci-fi, so that's a lot of what I focused on. And I also talked about the fandoms I was in, and things I felt were lacking or that could be better, usually in the avenues of like race, racism, representation of Black people, not just in the source media, but from the fan works we created. Because I've been extremely online since 2001 when my family moved to the United States mainland, and like I wasn't expecting a lot of what I saw in fandom as a young adult. Like when I was like a tween and a teenager, everything was great. But around 2009 was Race Fail, which was kind of like this big kind of awakening for me, where I went, oh, it's racist here too. Got it. And I keep going. I keep kind of talking about what it means to be a fan in fandom for this long and see all these people kind of talk about their experiences and kind of feel like I wasn't represented in a lot of fandom things. So I started talking about fandom and media. So 2015 was when it started on my website, but I've been doing it since let's say 2011. I remember the Avengers fandom. I actually had talked about how there were more people of color in the scenes in Germany than there were in the scenes in the United States for many of the moments in the first Avengers movie. And I got backlash on Tumblr for that, and that was 2011. And that like really awful backlash, like insulting, just really abusive stuff, and that has actually just increased. And so I've been writing for Teen Vogue since July 2020, when everybody was like, oh shit, we gotta care about Black people and stuff like that. I wrote about oh, I don't remember if it was which came first, if it was the piece about Megan Thee Stallion and like no such thing as a fake geek girl, or like a fake weeb, or if it was the thing about ATEEZ's Hong Jung and his cornos almost directly after the group had like put out a PR push like we support Black Lives Matter. And so that's been like the biggest thing I've done so far, and I did so knowing that there's always backlash to everything I do. I'm not particularly nice. Like I'm not mean, but if you're rude to me, I'm gonna not like I curse. I say fuck because I'm old. I get to do that. But it's been really weird to see people acting like I don't deserve humanity because like my language is a little spicier than your average 15-year-olds. And so when I started writing kind of regularly, one of the things that started happening was the backlash from other fans. And it was very personal. Like they took it personal and they made it personal. Like if I say, hey, what some Rey Kylo fans are doing is super racist. The attitude of the fandom is racist. They would treat it as if I called them specifically racist, like as individuals, and that I hated the black women and queer people who shipped Rey Kylo. And I'm like, I don't fucking know you guys, so how could I hate you? Except for the ones I did know who were just very aggressive and nasty over the years. And of course I hate them. They suck. The ones that have been harassing me for years. And so this has been an ongoing thing. And so around the time that the award was like the finalists were announced and they were doing voting, I think that was one of the second times for 2021 that I was being harassed by people in fandom, and they're largely white people, but a lot of black people in different fandoms and other people of color really hate the work I do on race and racism. And I guess it's because it makes them realize that they, no matter how much they do to be a part of white supremacist systems in fandom, they're never going to be white. And so like somebody pointing out like, yeah, it's still racist, that thing is racist, like just grinds their gears. And so when I said that I didn't expect to win this award during my speeches, I mean, I really didn't expect to win it because I've been targeted by kind of like a puppies, gamer, gator kind of collective crossing multiple fandoms that has been trying to get me fired, trying to destroy my life, trying to destroy my reputation. They've destroyed relationships I have with actual people. They've cost me jobs. They've cost me writing opportunities. Like lying that I've harmed a child, like by retweeting something like 4 to 8 years ago. And I didn't have my hopes up because even though I did a lot of really great work in 2020, like I did about 250,000 words of work, just primarily on my website and Patreon with like a few different pieces of media. Even though like my work was good, I was like, but it doesn't matter because a lot of people hate me. And so I wasn't expecting to win. Like I was sitting in the chat, just, like really hyped for everybody because like I was in good company. Everybody in the critics category is incredible. Some of them I've met offline and at different things, or like we've known each other online for years. And they're all people I felt like really proud of. I was super hyped, and it's just because of how much I've been through, like people publicly talking about like writing my editor or my editor's editor or the owners of Teen Vogue, like Condé Nast, like they're out here about to write Anna Wintour to ask her to get me off of my Teen Vogue column. I was thinking, okay, well that's like hundreds of people sat there and campaigned to try and destroy my life twice so far in 2021. They're not going, like the voting isn't going to be in my favor. And I guess I still had like an ember of hope because I was sitting there, like I had my hands just like clasped, even though I'm not that kind of religious. I'm very big on Dionysus. I'm a Maenad. And then when Asia called my name and said I won, I almost like lost my shit because I wasn't expecting it. Because I've been doing this for a really long time, and just increasingly really good work on cultural criticism about like the evolution of fandoms, our behavior in fandoms, and I've always had it like just really fiercely disrespected, treated as anti-fandom. Like people call me an auntie, and I'm like, auntie what? Like, yes, I don't love Rey Kylo shippers, but again, they have been trying to destroy my life for like 5 years. Like I don't have to like a ship fandom of people who hate me, right? So I have not really felt seen, and I have not really felt respected, and I felt pretty hated because again, hundreds if not thousands of people kind of mobilized to do kind of like a Gamergate-esque hate campaign against me, and I'm sure like they're gnashing their teeth and stomping their feet right now over it. because they've taken the most like uncharitable interpretation of my work, like taking it very personally. Like I'm anti their queer thing, so I'm anti queer people as this, right? And to win really helps validate just years of work that I've been doing, because I'm here writing all of this because I'm seeing what fandom really is like. I'm seeing people of color get erased from fandom histories. You know, everybody who was on LiveJournal can talk about strike through and purges, but they don't know about race fail and the harassment aimed at Black and brown fans. You know, they know that Star Trek was really popular because of slash shippers, but they don't know about the impact that Nichelle Nichols had on Black children and Black women. They don't care. Fans of color systematically are wiped from fandom histories, from fandom discourses, until we are useful, usually to uphold the status quo, usually to validate some racist who wants to be reassured that they're not racist. We are never allowed to just be, you know. So like I'm a couple minutes out from after dinner from a panel I was on with Danny Lore, CL Polk, Jordan Fueco, and our moderator Brent Lambert, and it was amazing to be in community with other fans, with people who created fan fiction and who imagined themselves in these worlds. You know, whether it was queerness or being of color, that we were seen, we saw ourselves, we put ourselves into the text. And it was, you know, even after the win for the nomination, which was like 6 hours ago, it was validating, you know, to be in a shared fandom space with people who got it, you know, who wanted to read the fic, who wanted to have fun creating the content, and who did. And that is why I keep at it. I've had my website for 7 years. I had Tumblr since 2009. And I started talking about racism and fandom from about 2011, between the Avengers fandom, the Star Wars, and the Sleepy Hollow fandom, because I was seeing anti-Blackness and I was seeing people defend it because it was harshing squeeze, it was yucking yums, it was infringing on white fans' rights to do what the fuck they wanted, to comment as a Black person on racism we were seeing in fandom. You know, I've always surrounded myself with Black fans, older Black fans, and other fans of color because I always felt like I could learn from them, and they were cool, and they were usually the people writing and drawing characters that looked like me. So to see fandom in 2021 kind of still the same, where, you know, talking about racism and fandom is seen as anti-fandom. You know, no matter how you phrase it, you can be like, here's a puppet, racism is bad, and someone would be like, oh, so you condone harassment and suicide baiting? And it's like, no, why would you say that? That's not the sentence that came out of my mouth. You know, like the things that I've gone through in the past couple of years from fandom, from these progressive spaces, has made it really hard to keep going as a creator, but also as a person. Like, y'all are pretty lucky I'm around, because it has been violent, just aggressive anti-Blackness, including coming from Black people. There were people in spaces that I was in this weekend that are also Black and who are absolutely they are part of the problem in fandom spaces. They are aware of that. They've made my life hell because as a Black fan, they can say whatever they want about me and it's fine. And it's been hard to keep going because I get nominated, I get referenced, I get an award, and the happiness comes, and I'm happy right now. I cried all over my mom. I called my nieces. I called my freshman that I adopted when she was a baby in college, and I like cried all over them. And then I have to look to the future. You know, I have to return to reckoning with fandom spaces that are increasingly hostile to people of color, that are purposefully viewing anti-fandom and anti-racism as the same thing. If you are anti-racist, you are an anti, and you are anti-fandom. And like, I'm going through all of this, and I have to go, well, I gotta keep going, because I'm doing this for myself, because I do everything for myself. I am incredibly self-indulgent. It's what I do. But I'm also doing it for the people who send me DMs on my main Twitter, who tell me that they're in a Discord chat and someone's called them a fucking racial slur. I do it for the people who email me and they ask how they can help. I do it for the people who are being gaslit in their fandoms by people, including other people of color, who aren't quite there yet, and I don't know when they will be. I don't write about racism and fandom and media to get clout. Like, I like a paycheck. Those are nice. I like that money can be exchanged for goods and services in either direction. But I started my website, Stitches Media Mix, without any expectation that it would go anywhere. I wrote for the Mary Sue for 6 months, and I didn't get paid for any of it. My first forays into kind of professional analysis of media were kind of a sunk cost. I didn't write about racism because it paid my bills. It pays some of them now, and that's great, but the majority of the work I do is free. It's accessible language-wise and platform-wise for other people of color, anti-racist allies, racists who are also masochists, whatever. Because the goal is to make it clear that fandom is for us. All of these fandoms. I think that fandom is a space that has great potential that we can live up to. Or we can make it live up to that potential anyway. But it requires a little work. And I'm glad that I can be here, that I got this Critic Award, that people really do appreciate what I do and how I do it. And I'm grateful. I didn't expect this, especially with the year and stuff I've had, where like anytime someone cited me, people would show up like, did you know Stitch abuses other people of color over ships? And like, they're lying, but no one ever cared. They would just take it at face value. You know, I thought that it would be a repeat of that. I thought that they would hit the lie that would take my nomination away, that they would, in lieu of that, mass vote me into obscurity. And they didn't win. My haters didn't win. And I appreciate the opportunity that this has given me to just be more visible, to expose more people to the idea of thinking critically about fandom, about what it means to be a fan, what fans of color, especially Black fans, have to go through in fandom spaces. You know, and this is like 200 times longer than my 2,000 times longer than my little speech when I won. But I've been through a lot because of my website, because of people's absolutely irrational responses to the idea that you can be critical of fandom and of media and still have fun. The only reason I'm ever not having fun is because of racists. I'm an army. Hello. I'm always having fun. It's only the point where other people make it their fun to harm and harass me and other people of color that I stop having fun. And it's important for people to just keep in mind that we exist. Fans of color exist. We deserve better. We deserve these spaces. We deserve this access. And we deserve respect because fandom is for all of us, not just for the white of us. And it's very frustrating. But you know what? Hopefully 2022 will be a year where people can say, I have applied these kind of thoughts from Stitch at any point. And here's what I've done to make fandom a better place. That's what I'm hoping for. So, thanks for voting for me. Thanks for hyping me up. Thanks for reading my content. Thanks for maybe occasionally fussing with people who are racist dick shits. Thanks for everything. And I love y'all.